I went from being on top of the mountain to falling straight off the cliff.
She was involved in infidelity?
It was with my best friend, actually.
With your best friend?
I had lost my last job that I had in law enforcement. I'd become homeless because she had finally kicked me out. And I couldn't understand what I had done so bad to be punished.
This pain is real.
Yes, sir.
And your pain has an expiration date on it. And let me tell you when that date is. It's today. Yep. Hello, I'm Creflo Dollar, and I want to welcome you to my brand new magazine-style program called Your World. Now, my vision for this platform is to dive deep and bring solutions to the breakdowns and roadblocks we are all facing. Now, on today's program, I want to deal with an issue everyone can relate to. At some point in life, whether you're in the teen years, career building stage, middle-aged, or in your twilight years, it hits us. This sense that something is missing between the person we are and the person we want to be. We don't know how to bridge the gap, and because of it, our life spirals downward. We find ourselves in terrible relationships, but don't know how to fix them. We drown in debt, and it seems impossible to fix. We look back on our past and wonder, what if? We don't know who we are or how we got there. This thing, this it, that is robbing us of our joy is called the identity crisis. So, how do you bridge the gap? How do you break away from things that hold you back and prevent you from experiencing fulfilling life? What is the secret to ending this identity crisis and becoming the person God created you to be? Today on Your World, we're going to wrestle this subject head on, lift the lid off of it, and find some answers.
Changing one life, time after time. Oh Lord, we do it all for you.
Through the trials I see, I'll always believe a new life starts with me. Oh, change your world today. Change is gonna come your way. Change and get an understanding. His grace will transform.
Just a few years ago, Tommy Ross was in love, had a brand new baby, and weighed a healthy 200 pounds. He was confident, charismatic, and poised to make his mark on the world. But when his relationship ended and the mother of his child fell in love with his best friend, Tommy sank deep into depression that lasted years and ultimately doubled the body weight. This led Tommy deeper into his identity crisis, and he gave up. Today, Tommy weighs 400 pounds and is finally looking to end this dangerous pattern. Tommy, thank you so much for being here with us today to share your story.
Thank you for having me.
Let's walk through the beginning and bring our audience up to where you are today. Talk to us about your successful career in law enforcement. You're in love, you have a career that you love.
When I started that career in civilian law enforcement, I dove headfirst into it. Tried to be the best that I could be, and I found my niche, which was DUI enforcement, get drunk drivers off the road, and everything was going great. I was dating a girl, and she got pregnant, and I was on top of the world. I had pretty much reached just about every goal I wanted to attain. And then it was like overnight, I went from being on top of the mountain to falling straight off the cliff.
She was involved in infidelity.
It was with my best friend, actually. And when I first called him, I was blanked out angry. I mean, my whole mind just blanked out. After that, I went completely downhill. I started pushing friends away. I started pushing my family away. I had lost my last job that I had in law enforcement. I'd become homeless because she had finally kicked me out. As time went on, I was so stressed out, I ate more. The more I tried to get back into law enforcement, I would be rejected. And the more I was rejected, because I love helping people, it made me feel worse and worse and worse. And I finally, after my ex had kicked me out, I can't take this anymore.
A lot of pain still there, huh, Tommy? A lot of pain still there. You find yourself angry about a lot of things?
Yes.
Do you find that you've taken that anger and turned it inward? Yeah. Depression is all of the external things
Yes, sir.
that have entered into your heart that weighs you down. The way it gets in your heart
Yes, sir.
is by you continue to think about those thoughts that weigh you down.
Yes.
Thinking about thoughts that weigh you down.
It's really hard to explain. You go from being a happy person to somebody that's in the worst pain that you could ever be in. I was in so much pain, I turned my back on God because I thought that he was punishing me. And I couldn't understand what I had done so bad to be punished.
Yeah. And why would God allow this to happen to me?
And I looked up and I was like, I can't take any more. I'm done. I reached behind me, I pulled my gun out, and I stuck it to my head. And I had the trigger halfway down, and my phone rang. And I looked, and it was my best friend. And I was thinking, why? And this is a guy that I served with in the military. We'd worked together. And I was like, why is he calling me? So I set my gun down. I was like, hello? And he's like, hey.
Make me adjustment, huh?
He's like, hey, bro, how's everything going? I said, oh, everything's going good over here. He said, well, I hadn't heard from you in a while. And he said, can I talk to you about something? He said, can you come down here and talk to me? I'm at work. And I pull up next to his patrol car, and he starts talking to me about a call he had. He said, I just need some help. He said, I worked a suicide last night. It was with an airman. And I'm sitting there going, a suicide? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks that I wasn't being punished. Because if I was being punished, that phone would have never rang.
You see, we call that grace. That's undeserved, unearned, unmerited favor. It's nothing you did to qualify for that grace. If you could qualify for grace, then grace wouldn't be grace. But it's God loving you in spite of yourself. Now tell me, what did you do to deserve that? Tell me, what did you do to make that happen? You didn't do anything to make that happen. That's the grace of God. And if God's grace can stop you from taking your life, he can and will correct everything about this situation and restore you right back to that place of joy that you came out of. I believe it. I believe it. This pain is real.
Yes, sir.
It's real. And you turn to your drug of choice, food.
Yes, sir.
And we've got to understand that where we are right now is not where we will always be.
Yes, sir.
And your pain has an expiration date on it. And let me tell you when that date is. It's today. Your expiration date for your pain is today. And if you'll work with me here just for a moment.
Yes, sir.
I'll show you that there is a grace that will help get this weight off of you, to get you down to 200 pounds and to get you to every place you want to be. I know because, you know, I wasn't 300 pounds, but I was 240. And right now today, I'm 190, 185 pounds going back and forth there. And I'm wearing stuff I never thought I could ever put my tail in, but you know, it worked, and I really appreciate it. But you're gonna have to recognize what this rejection is all about.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have to be willing to say, you know what, I can do whatever I want to do. I can be whatever I want to be. I am going to control this way of thinking that tries to destroy me.
Essentially what I did is I gave up on myself.
This sense that I can't change, that's not real. That you can change, but you have to know who you are. Identity is really described as being someone who feels significant and special.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes you don't feel that way, and you need somebody to tell you that you are. Dear God, man, look at what you've been trained to do. Look at what you have. Look at the number of people that die from DUI situations every year.
Yes, sir.
And look at the call, the special call and training that you have to stop that. And when you recognize who you are and you recognize the righteousness of God, God loves me, and you stay there, then all this other stuff won't talk you out of what you already know about yourself. This is a significant time in your life. Only God could have set this up. And I believe that we'll get back together, and Skinny Tommy will walk out of here with your uniform on, with everything that was lost restored back to you. You believe that, Tommy?
Yes, sir. I
do too. And let's add our faith together, and let's believe that the best is yet to come. Amen. Listen, Tommy's story is no different than so many of you watching today. Something happened, a divorce, a death in the family, a job loss, and that one thing led you down the slippery slope of coping. But your vice wasn't drugs or pornography. It was the vicious grip of food, poor diet, suffering health, and all the misery that comes with it. Helping you and Tommy is what this show, Your World, is about. Well, it's time to break free. Coming up, you're going to meet my special guest, Dr. Joe, I call him. And he's going to help us uncover some solutions that will lead to a breakthrough in your life.
He's live.
God getting ready to turn some things around in your life.
Sometimes direct.
How many believers do I have in here right now?
And always anointed. Creflo Dollar, streaming live from Atlanta and New York City, Saturdays at 6 p.m., Sundays at 10 a.m., and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Stay connected. No matter where you are in the world, Creflo Dollar's just a click away. Catch him live 3 times a week at CrefloDollarMinistries.org.
Dr. Joe Cristiano is a nationally recognized fitness expert and former Mr. America, whose one-on-one training and nutrition program has been transforming the bodies and lives of people across the globe for 30 years. He has helped high-profile clients such as Sylvester Stallone, as well as multiple Miss USA, Miss America, and Mrs. America pageant winners. And he has developed a coaching service to help his clients stay accountable and reach their health and fitness goals. Please welcome Dr. Joe Cristiano. Welcome, sir. So glad to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start off by saying I want to be like you when I grow up.
You want to shoot higher than that?
Yeah. You know. Now, you wrote a book, and I know you wrote a book because I ordered the book. You know. And it was so very interesting. In the book, it began to talk about how to eat according to your blood type.
Right.
Talk to us about that.
In my search for the ideal diet, how do we break loose? How do we get the fat off our bodies? How do I get muscular? How do I look good? All these things that society beats over our brains. I wanted to see if there was something more unique about you and me and everybody else, because we're not all the same. We don't have the same fingerprint, the same iris in the eye. We're different, and we don't have the same blood type. Well, where's the correlation? Well, we did studies and research and tests, and we found out that each blood type, let me put it this way, if all 4 blood types, the A, the O, the B, and the AB, sat down, ate the same meal, 2 hours later, what would they be doing? How would they be feeling? One would have tons of energy because they fueled their body. The other would have like a kind of a hypoglycemia, kind of tired feeling. Another one have a little party going on down here, you know, like what's going on? And each one ate the same food and going, what's the deal? And that's where I went from a generic approach to a genetic approach. The generic approach is one diet fits all. Genetic is only one fits me. So I found that, well, if we can eat certain foods and avoid certain foods, not go on a diet, okay? Because a diet is good as long as you're on it. Right. But you probably can't make it a lifestyle, so it drives everybody crazy and they get frustrated, right? They gain all their weight back. So if you know that there's certain foods that work biochemically in your favor for healing your body, taking away pain, reducing the toxins that are built in your fat cells that will make them shrink, you're going to lose body fat and that scale is going to drop and that dress or that suit is going to fit better. By avoiding certain foods, you remove the toxins from your body, but you also remove that roadblock from losing weight. You know, each year people make these resolutions, but they can't keep them, because they're not finding what works for them particularly. Now, there's some people, no, don't get me wrong. If you're very lethargic, if you're sedentary and you eat terribly, and you make some improvements going in the right direction with the right thinking, yeah, your body's going to respond. But then there's a difference between eating, let's say, healthy and correctly, all right? Because your body responds at a biochemical level, at the cellular level, based on what you're feeding it. And that's going to be the outcome. So the intake versus the uptake. In other words, the fuel that's in that food, if it's compatible, the uptake is going to be proper assimilation. The energy that's in the food is now going to go throughout your body, make you healthy, and the overflow or the outcome is going to be a healthier life.
Doc, what would you say to Tommy to help him with this journey? I asked him what would he need to do in order to see restoration of his job and his personal life. How could you help him?
Can I ask a question?
Go.
I listened to you talking, and it was breaking my heart because I know where you're at.
Yes.
I do. I've been there, and it's hard to explain that to someone that isn't experiencing that. But your best friend, have you forgiven him?
Yes.
Have you forgiven your wife?
Yes.
Have you forgiven Tommy?
No.
It's going to start there. I can give you my book. I can give you my hotline, brother. But you got to forgive yourself, man. Because the enemy wants you to hate yourself, because you're going to go right back there.
That's good.
And that's why I'm here.
That's good. And when he says it's vital for you to forgive yourself, you need to do that. Because God's not holding anything against you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's forgiven you.
Mm-hmm.
So if we will make that step one, because there's nothing anybody can do, because if you don't forgive yourself, whatever you get from the book, whatever you get from the hotline, whatever advice and guidance you get from him, it's not going to work. It's only going to work until you start beating yourself up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know,
And I want to forgive myself.
Yeah.
You've been forgiven.
Yeah.
You've been forgiven. And if you can be forgiven by the one who's sinless, you certainly can forgive yourself.
Yeah.
But you have to go there. But once you do, my friend, I tell you, you will be set free. I promise you, you'll be set free.
I feel like just sitting here, listening and talking to both of y'all, this huge weight has been lifted off of me anyways.
Praise God. Well, that's what I wanted to happen. But one of the things that I want you to hear is that Jesus forgave you 2,000 years ago.
Yes, sir.
It's a done deal. He didn't forgive you because you deserved it. He didn't forgive you because you qualified for forgiveness. He didn't forgive you because you're goody-goody two-shoes and you do everything right. He decided to show you undeserved favor,
yes, sir,
and forgive you. That's the power of grace. So what Dr. Joe is saying is he's already forgiven you. Now what you've got to do is accept that forgiveness enough to forgive yourself. Hey, if he doesn't have a problem with you, Tommy, you ought not have a problem with yourself, you know.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes just by verbally acknowledging that you can forgive yourself, by saying it out loud, I forgive myself. Can you do that right now?
I forgive myself.
Can you say that again?
I forgive myself.
Can you tell Dr. Joe that?
I forgive myself.
Weight loss is going to be a byproduct. Okay? It's not going to be the goal. Okay? The goal is to learn to make food selections for your blood type.
Yes, sir.
Your body will do the rest for you. I promise you. I've worked with people all over the world, and that'll be a byproduct.
I'm a witness.
There's a witness.
I'm more cut up now.
He's lean and mean.
Yeah, I got abs.
You were 200 pounds. You know, I went to 305 once out of depression.
Yes, sir.
And I woke up weighing 305 pounds, this human doughboy. And I thought to myself two things. One, how in the world did I get here? And how in the world am I going to turn this thing around?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we know how. And it started with understanding that that refrigerator was not the answer to my emotional problems. Okay? We get that out of the way, and we correct our coping skill. Now we eat not to cope with emotional pain, but we eat to fuel our body, and we'll eat in a way that your body requires that particular fuel. It'll be based on your genetics, your blood type. From there, physical pain, weight, energy levels, you know, health, blood pressure going to go down, cholesterol levels will drop, stomach disorders are going to change and they're going to be eliminated just because you're making food selections that are based on your chemistry.
Yes.
Weight loss, I'm going to tell you something, brother, I'm going to drop right off. It's just going to happen. It does because you're lining your food intake with your chemistry, not a diet plan.
And it works. And you don't feel like you're on a diet. You can
Exactly.
eat and enjoy yourself.
Yes, sir.
Tommy, I got something I want to give to you. On this show, this is all about showing people the power of grace. And I want to read this to you. This is a grace covenant presented to Tommy Ross. And it says, I, Tommy Ross, accept this grace covenant provided to me by Creflo Dollar and agree with the following statements. I believe Jesus loves me and nothing will ever change. I believe that grace in the person of Jesus Christ has already provided everything I will ever need to have a healthy, fulfilling, and prosperous life. I believe everything in my past is in my past. Jesus has chosen not to remember it, and neither will I. I will proclaim that I am the righteousness of God. I will daily live by the nature of understanding grace, empowering the change, to better equip myself for success and to better serve those individuals around me. And I will daily flood my life with the Word of God and the praises of His saints. This is a grace covenant. You're already on the list. You're already in the book of life. Would you receive it?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to sign my name here. Sign your name right here above the righteousness of God. And it's just an outward way for us to say very clearly,
Yes, sir.
we trust in the power of God's grace to get us into the place where we need to be. We love you so much, man. And Dr. Joe, you are just amazing. We need to do another show together because I want to talk about GMOs. I want to talk about the cavemen.
Yes, man.
I want to talk about all of the things that I've had questions about. And we're just so glad that you were able to join us today. Don't allow the devil to open any door in your life to try to come in to cause you to do something to take your life. You are significant. You have value to society and to the world. Tommy, I want to thank you for coming on this show, the kickstart to your journey of recovery and this new life.
Thank you for having me.
In just a few minutes, I'm going to give you the chance to bring home a collection that will revitalize you and give you a new perspective on your health, your relationships, and your future. I believe in you, and I can't wait to see all that God is going to do for you. Here's how you can get these valuable resources today.
Who am I? What does my life mean? Where am I going? And more importantly, who am I supposed to be? And how do I become that person? Like an ongoing interrogation, we torture ourselves with these questions, never finding the answer. And not knowing the answer is crippling. Not knowing the answer leads to bad relationships, depression, weight gain, financial loss, and so much more. On today's broadcast, you saw the amazing story of Tommy Ross. Completely off the rails, Tommy's life transformation began right before your very eyes as he realized God's grace and his identity in him.
If you can be forgiven by the one who's sinless, you certainly can forgive yourself.
Now what you've got to do is accept that forgiveness enough to forgive yourself.
I forgive myself.